Hello. Welcome, welcome. I am Penny. I'm a gymnastics coach of about 20 years. I am a judge. I have a background in nutrition. That's what I did my uni degree in. I'm also a personal trainer and a strength and conditioning coach. We've been busy getting qualifications. And I'm also a gymnast. So I'm 37 and I went back to competing high levels gymnastics about maybe 2 to 3 years ago. And last year I did the AGC Pro League. So come join me for a training session, me and Ruby. Let's go. I'm going to show you something I mentioned in my Active Flex warm-up. So I've just done all of my split stretches and now we're going into splits on my less dominant leg. You notice that I call it less dominant, not bad leg, because it's power. Anyways, so what I mentioned was you can use a yoga block to help you feel a little bit less of an intensity when you do this stretch. The goal with passive flexing is to relax. So if you are feeling a lot of pain, you are less likely to relax. So we're going to use a yoga block in two ways. You can pop it underneath your front leg, so you can pop it under your glute base, depending on what your range of motion is. If you are that little bit further down, you can drop it to that lower height. And if you're flat, but you're not comfortable being flat and you don't feel like you can relax, you can use one yoga block on each side to help you control, using your hands, how much weight those hips are taking. So I can sit here and I will fidget and I will be tense and I will feel uncomfortable. So if I've got my hands propped up, rather than down here, you can see my body weight is leaning forward. I can keep my torso up nice and tall, which in gymnastics is what we want. We want a tall torso. We don't want our hips, our chest forward in our split position. And then I can use my hands, just take a little bit of the pressure off my hips. And you might find that if you hang out here for 30 to 60 seconds, that as those hands start to tire and you become more comfortable, you'll take more weight through your legs anyways. Good leg splits. I'm very comfortable getting flat. Actually, not as comfortable as I would like, but we are flat. So if you have a yoga block and you are ready, you have two options. You can use it on your front leg. So you can pop it under that front knee and front calf. So you have got that slightly elevated front leg. Don't use oversplits lightly. Not everybody is capable of oversplits and not everybody is ready for oversplits. I personally don't feel like I'm ready for oversplits. This is pretty uncomfortable and I would prefer if I had my hands raised on a couple of yoga blocks so I could control how much weight is going through my hip. Other option you have got, if you are ready to extend and you don't need that regression, is popping the yoga block under your back knee so that you have that front leg down. Same thing, I would prefer if I had yoga blocks to elevate my torso and put me in a more comfortable position so that I can control my body weight going through my hips. But really easy ways to increase the difficulty with just really cheap equipment. You can do some upper back mobility and then we might go do some beam.
Go, go, go!
Okay, so right about here, my audio stuffed up, but basically this is one of my current favorite mobility exercises for my upper back and my shoulders. You hang on the bar and it's got to be like the right height for your level of mobility with your toes tucked under so your legs are lifted up off the floor. And I normally do it for about 10 seconds with both arms, and then I do a single arm 10-second hold, and it feels just delightful. Another upper back mobility exercise I've been doing is these wall handstand bridges, and then these are a classic favorite that are really good for walkovers too, where you stand up, lift your body nice and tall, and think about extending back towards the wall with your hands, then your shoulders, then your upper back, and you try not to just bend at your midsection, basically where the top part of my shorts are. The audio died in the last section. Anyways, last thing is going to be just bridge with my feet elevated. I don't really do bridge with my feet on the floor and my hands on the floor because it's just like too challenging. It's too much of a range of motion. So I like to do it with my feet elevated. If you are super inexperienced with bridge, doing this, the push-up can be a little bit challenging. So that's why if that's the case, start with your feet like your shoulders supported, get your hands on the floor so that you're not having to get that first little inch off the floor before you push up. Otherwise, I get in as close as I can. Don't know if you can see me. Well, that's a good back scratch. Okay, close as I can, hands tuck under my shoulders as much as I can. And you're going to think about pushing up through your hips, using your glutes and your hammies to get you there. And then big push through your shoulders like you're doing a push-up, but you're in a handstand. Okay, then I'm thinking hips really high towards the ceiling. Arms straight is the first goal. Then once you get your arms straight, you're thinking about pushing your shoulders away from your feet. And just pay attention to where you feel the most intensity, because that's going to give you a clue as to where you're lacking mobility. I feel it through my hips, more than my shoulders right now, but I don't feel anything in my lower back, which is good. So I try to hang out there for 10 seconds. Oh, that was probably longer than 10 seconds, because by the time I get up and I'm like in position and all of the kinks have been ironed out, it's probably been about 20 seconds. We'll do one more. This is like, oh man, I used to have such a bendy back and very bendy shoulders, but I'd prefer to have inflexible shoulders that stay in their sockets than a bendy shoulder that pops out. All right. Hopefully it'll be better the second time around. I really should have taken my watch off. I feel like I look like a contortionist for the amount is stretching and how hard I'm trying. But I probably don't even have my shoulders directly over my wrists, which is the goal. Let's see if I can kick over. Ah! Oh. There you have it. Pro gymnast, terrible at bridge. Okay, warm up done. Little bit of upper back flex. Probably should have done more splits flex because I'm going to do some beam lines. So like acro skills that I want to do on the beam. I am going to be super rusty because I have not done these for, what is it, January, November, December, at least 2 months. So pray for me. Pro tip, doing beam skills on a sprung floor is a great step, but I personally, as a coach and as a gymnast, like to do them on a dead floor. So like the vault strip or an unsprung floor, before I take them to the beam, because the beam is not sprung. Yes, it does give you a little bit of bounce, but nothing compared to the sprung floor. So if you are working on taking steps towards taking an acro skill or a leap to the beam, don't just do them on a sprung floor. And Colin is also here. Okay, see how many we can fit in before she comes back. Ew. Yeah, rusty. We're rusty. I feel a bit wonky. Where's the ball? There we go. A bit wild on the landing. Where's the ball? Where's the ball? Okay, so here I spent a little bit of time working on side aerials because I'm trying to change the way I use my arms. I used to do them standing and I didn't do any arm entry, and I've done them like that my whole life. And I really wanted to compete them on beam, but they were just really inconsistent. So I'm trying to relearn how to use my arms. And then I decided that I wanted to spend a little bit of time on one of my other goals, which was a standing back layout. This has been one of my lifetime, like all-time favorite skills to learn, and one I thought that I would never be able to do, and I learned it a couple of years ago. And I haven't spent any time doing it over the last couple of years just because I've been focusing on other stuff. So in my head I was going to do some of those, but alas, I was a bit scared, so decided not to. And then we moved on to cartwheel dismounts, because as I said, I want to get side aerial on beam, and they were very inconsistent. But my goal skill, as I'll talk about a little bit later, is a side aerial back layout full twist dismount, which is very bold to imagine that I could do that, considering my side aerials on beam are pretty bad. But yeah, there's no harm in setting the bar high, is there? So I spent a bit of time working on cartwheel dismounts, and as you can see, gymnasts are pretty unco. I'm sure the other coaches and gymnasts out there can attest. If I had $1 for every time myself or one of my gymnasts fell over for no reason, I would be rich. fluff nugget. She's so cute. Come on in. Good girl.